Okay, here are the solutions to these two problems. The first thing it says is to write an equation, and the first step to writing an equation is to find the slope. So I've got to find my y difference by subtracting these numbers. 68 take away 34 is 30. 4 is my y difference. Subtract these numbers. 4 take away 2 is 2. And then to find the slope, I need to divide 34 by 2. So I will set that up long division ways. 2 goes into 3 once. And 2 goes into 14 7 times, so there's my slope, 14. Finding the y-intercept, I will pick a pair. I'll pick this pair. And then I'll take 2 times it by the slope, 17. And 2 times 17 is 34. And then I ask myself, what do I need to add to that to get to 34? Oh, well, the answer is nothing, 0. So my y-intercept is 0. Now the equation is going to be y equals the slope, 17, times x plus nothing. Except I'm not going to use x and y for this because this problem isn't about x and y. I'm going to talk about distance and hours. So I would say distance equals 17h. And I can put plus 0, or if I want to, the plus 0 is not necessary. I can just say d equals 17h. Okay? The rate of change, what does it mean? So rate of change just talks about slope. So automatically I'm talking about 17, the slope. I neglected to write it on here, but the distance traveled should be in miles. And the question is, should I put miles per hour or hours per mile? And my answer to that question, to which one I need to do, lies right here. It's right here. So it's 17 per h. So 17 somethings per, that h stands for hours, per hour. And that 17 must be miles, 17 miles per hour. Okay, so here's the second problem. The first thing I want to do is make myself a little table. This looks like I'm looking at cars parked and weekly earnings. Earnings is just a word for how much money you get paid for doing something, for a job. Weekly earnings. So let's see what points I can read. Looks like 0 is $300. So 0 cars, $300. The next point, that's 15 cars, but maybe I'm not sure what that is, so just skip it. So let's go to the next one. 30 cars. And it looks like it's $450. Okay? So at this point, I could just go ahead and start writing the equation. I don't need to do I don't need any more points. I've got 2. It's enough. So first I'll find my y difference by subtracting these two numbers. 450 and 300 gives me 150. And then 30 take away 0, that's easy, 30. And then I'll take 30 and divide that, oops, got that backwards. Gotta be careful about that. I'll take 150 and divide that by 30, which gives me 5, because 5 times 30 is 150. So there's my slope. Now the y-intercept, there's 2 ways of doing it. One way is to pick, say, this pair and say, okay, 30, and I'll times that by the slope, 5, and that gives me 150, and then ask myself, what do I need to add to get the y value? Okay, well, what do I need to add to 150 to get 450? The answer is 300. Or alternatively, I can just look at this graph and say, oh, when x is 0, y is 300, so 300 is my y-intercept. So my equation, it's, I'll say we'll use W and C, so weekly earnings, this is my y value, so it's going first, is equal to 5 times the number of cars parked plus 300. So there's my equation, and the rate of change. Again, rate of change is another word for slope, so I got to put 5. And I ask myself, what variables or what words go into here for my units. So 5C means 5 per car. So definitely per car. And then 5 must be weekly earnings is, again, how much money you get paid. So it would be $5 per car.